In this tutorial in Tyler Pro, we're going to show you how to customize the turn transition that you can apply to various elements of your title. We're going to apply it right to this "Until Labor Day Only" paragraph. So with that highlighted, I'm going to click into my Library tab at the upper left. Click on the right arrow of Transitions. It gives me 3 subcategories. And click on Animations. I could also click here as well on the word, and that will give me folders. These contain the same information as the column on the left, but I'm going to go to Turn here. I don't have to scroll down to find it. When I do that, I find that I have 6 presets. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the Turn option and apply one of them and begin to modify it. I'll take the About Face and double click on it. And we have another lesson that overviews these 6 presets. And if you click the down arrow over here, you'll see all 6 here. You don't have to get out of this edit screen to change from one to the other. You can just click here and it will give you all the characters of that particular preset. So let's start with the About Face and make some changes to it. Notice that in the default realm, it applies to the entire paragraph. So if I go ahead and play this, every word, every letter is twisting about at the same time. So it's all uniform through the whole thing. There we see how it's moving. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to change that. If I want to change it, and I can say Apply To, I can say instead of Paragraph, let's try Word and see what difference that makes. What that makes is it separates each word in my paragraph. The one twists in, and when it's about ready, there's a little bit of overlap here. We'll talk about that in a moment. When it's half finished, the next word comes in, and then the next word, and the next word, and the exclamation point. Part of it is overlap. The third thing we can change is how much do they overlap. If I drag this back, see what happens. We'll take that down to maybe 6%. We'll do it again, and until is just almost finished before you see anything of labor. And that's almost done before you see anything of day. And so if it's low, it will wait until the previous word is almost done, and I can turn it down to 0. But let's turn it way up again and see the difference here. And now we'll see that until is ahead of labor, but labor is not far behind. So they intermingle. The timing is a little bit different. They're closer to each other the higher you go. And so the default here, all I have to do is click on About Face again and leave it in, go back to Word. And I'll have my 50% overlap. But you can change that however you like. How long do you want to wait between the time the words overlap, or if you want to do even letters, let's go down to the individual letters. Now that's here, letters about 50% done, and then the next one starts up. But again, you can change this from 0 to 100. The other option you can change here is called Fade In. Let's apply this to words. It's easier to see the difference. And the Fade In is set to 50%. Let's lower the Fade In down closer to 0 and see what happens. The word day starts out pretty solid characters. Okay, and still does only. So that's how the Fade In changes there. If I go way up on Fade In, let's see what happens. We'll drag it over here about 90%. And we see that it's faded for a much longer period of time before it gets finally solid at the end. So that's what the Fade In slider does. Another option you have is Reverse. We'll click on Reverse and we'll see what happens when we play it. It goes from right to left, as you might expect. So that's some ways in which you can change all the characters and the style of your transitions in the turn category. Let's try another preset just for fun. Here we have twist by letter. The twist by letter is fast in. It applies to the letters. The overlap is 25%. And I'm going to turn the reverse off here. And the fade in is 50%. And now you begin to see how they build the presets. So I'm going to go back here and we'll drag across it slowly. Okay. And notice how fast it is coming in. And the overlap is only 25%. So one is almost done, barely done, and the other is starting. Again, we can change that so the timing is different. Got a little more between one and the next one. Or again, I can change the fade, or I can change the reverse if I want to. So this gives you several options that you can use equally. And if you want to go back to any of the preset defaults, you simply click on the down arrow, you pick the preset, and it automatically shifts it to whatever its defaults are. Again, to change the length of the transition, all you need to do is move down into the small bar that identifies the transition. You can say, well, let's take 3 seconds for the entire thing, or 4 or 5, whatever. And that will slow down or speed up the transition as a whole. So this is one way in which you can customize any of the turn animations in Tyler Pro.